Bonjour tout le monde! Hi everyone! Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well, that you had a good weekend, a good beginning of the week. So today we're going to talk about a new topic, and for today's class, we're going to talk about the verbs in French, les verbes en français. First, before we start, you see that the title is les verbes ER. Why ER? What does that mean? In French, we have a couple of different groups of verbs depending on their ending. So you're going to have a verb that's going to have a specific ending, and depending on the ending, we're going to put that verb in a specific group. We have three groups of verbs. The first one is the group ER. That means the ER ending. So for example, you have parler, manger. Parler means to speak, manger, to eat. You see, when you want to say to speak or to eat, that the verb finishes with ER. ER is the ending, and because of that ending, we're going to be able to put all of the verbs finishing with ER in the same group. The first one, premier groupe, verb finishing with ER. Then we have the second group. The second group is the verb that finishes with IR. Careful with this one. We have some exceptions. We have a rule, the double S. We're going to talk about that next time. But just so you know, when you want to say to finish, you're going to say finir, to achieve, aboutir. So those two verbs finish with the IR ending. So you're going to be able to put them in the second group of verbs. Deuxième groupe, IR. And then we have the last group, all of the rest. So we don't care about the ending, as long as it's not ER or specific IR verbs, they're all going to be placed in the third group, such as to drink, boire, to sell, vendre, to read, lire. So you see here, those three verbs have a completely different ending. Boire, O-I-R-E, to sell, vendre, D-R-E, to read, lire, R-E. So as long as it's not ER, which is a part of the first group, IR, couple of verbs, second group, the rest has to be third group. For today's class, we're going to focus on the first group of verb, which is the ending ER. Before we start focusing on the verbs and the ending, let's just talk about les pronoms personnels, the personal pronoun. If you want to say I, you're going to say je. Je is I. Then you have you. You, we say tu. Donc, je, tu. Then if you want to say he, you're going to say il. She, elle. If you want to say we, we're going to say nous. Careful with nous, don't pronounce the S. Nous. To say you, vous. So here, how do we know when to use tu, when to use vous? Tu, you talk to one person, it's singular, and it's informal. So you can use tu to a friend, to a family member, someone you know, someone you're close to. If you want to use vous, you have two options. It's singular, so you address yourself to one person, but you have to be respectful to that person. So it's like a polite way to say tu. You're not going to say tu to your boss. For example, if you want to talk to your boss, you're going to say vous. That's a show of respect. Or if you want to say you, plural. If you're addressing to a group of people, more than one, you're addressing to multiple people at the same time, you're going to say vous. And the last one, they. They, in French, we have two different pronouns depending on the gender. So if you want to talk about a group of boys, group of male, you're going to be saying il with an S, il. But you don't pronounce the S either. And if you want to talk about a group of girls, only girls, you're going to be saying elle. Little information, if you want to talk about a group where you have both boys and girls, you're going to be using the masculine. The masculine takes it over the feminine. Yeah. But yeah, I, je, you, tu, he, il, she, elle, we is nous, you is vous, and they, il for boys, elle for girls. Let's talk about the first group. So we said that the first group is the group of verbs that finish with ER. It's super easy. You're going to see it's always the same thing. We have a rule, which is for the specific pronoun, you're gonna have a specific ending. And it's always gonna be the same ending for all of the verbs that finish with er. When you wanna say I plus a verb finishing with er, je, you're gonna put a final e. Okay, the final e is always gonna be the e for je. When the group finishes with er, we're gonna have like one exception. You're gonna see that one, but all of the time, always gonna be e. Je plus the e. Careful, the e for the ending, it's mute. You're gonna see, we're never gonna pronounce it, but you have to put it. If you wanna say tu and use a verb er, the ending is gonna be es. Always gonna put es at the end of a verb if you're addressing to tu. Es, same as je, mute. Then to say il ou elle, he or she, same as je, e, the e, mute, never pronounce it. Then if you want to say nous is we, ons. Ons, this one you're going to pronounce. Careful, you're going to pronounce the on, which is the sound on, but you're not going to pronounce the s either. So when you're going to have a verb, you're going to pronounce the on at the end of the verb. Don't pronounce the s. To say vous, so remember vous, it's either you, formal, singular, or a group of people. It's going to be ez. Ez, you're going to be pronouncing it e. Always e. Every time you have the verb, you put your ez ending, and you're going to pronounce the ez e. Don't pronounce the z. Don't pronounce the e on its own. Those two together makes the sound e. And then to say they, so we have il, elle. The ending is ent. Ent, mute. You never pronounce the ent. You know that usually the sound of en is en. Never pronounce it. Not even the en, not even aunt. Never pronounce it. You put it, but it's like you are not putting any ending when you're going to be pronouncing it. So to say je, with je, we put an i. Tu, is, il, elle. E, nous, ons. Vous, ez. Il, elle, ent. Ent. Now that you know the ending, what you're going to have to do, it's always going to be the same thing. It's super easy. For example, let's try with the verb to speak. If you want to say to speak, we're going to say parler. Keep in mind that every time that you have a verb finishing with er, the er ending will going to be pronounced e. So you're going to be saying parler. You don't pronounce the r on its own. The e plus the r together makes the sound e. Donc parler, to speak. What do? I have my verb, parler. You know that the ending er is the form of the verb when it's to its full form. That means when I have the er ending, that means that the verb is not connected, conjugated to any pronoun. It's the verb to speak. When I want to put it to a pronoun, to myself, to you, to they, whatever, you're going to have to remove that ending because you're going to be connected, that verb, to a pronoun now. So the er, you take it out. You keep your base. The base, it's everything that's before the er ending, so which is P-A-R-L. P-A-R-L. This is the base of the verb. You keep it. You're going to put that base to every pronoun. So I'm putting my parle to all of my pronoun, and then I just need to add my ending. So we saw that for je, the ending was e, e. So I'm keeping my base, parle, and I'm adding my e. Je parle. Careful, the e is mute. I speak, je parle. Tu, we saw that the ending was es. Same thing. I know that with tu, it's es. I'm keeping my base, P-A-R-L, and I'm switching the er with the es for tu. Tu parles, you speak. Then, il, elle. So if I want to say he speaks, he talks, she speaks, she talks, same thing. I keep my base and I add my e. Il parle, he speaks. Elle parle, she speaks. Then with nous, so if you want to say we speak, we know that the ending is ons. What we're gonna do, same thing as usual, we're gonna keep the base and put the ons ending. This one we pronounce. We pronounce the on, not the s, but we do pronounce the on. So we're gonna say nous parlons. Nous parlons, we speak. Then to say you speak to your boss or to a group, the ending with vous is ez. Same thing, I keep my base, which is parle, and I'm adding my ez ending, vous parlez. You know that the ez has the sound e Vous parlez, you speak, formal or plural. Then if you want to say they speak, same thing. They, masculine, il with an S. They, feminine, elle with an S. The ending is ent. I'm keeping my base and I put my ending. They speak, ils parlent, elles parlent. I don't pronounce the ent. So if I want to say the full verb to all of the pronoun, je parle, tu parles, il parle, elle parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il parle, elle parle. So now you see that if I want to say he speaks singular or they speak plural, same pronunciation. Because I don't pronounce the S when it's il and I don't pronounce the ENT. Il parle can be singular or plural, just depend on the context. And it's going to be the same thing for every verb. So now we have to sing. To sing, chanter. Chanter, ER, pronounce my A, chanter. And then I put the same ending at the time. You know that for je, it's E. Je chante. Don't pronounce chanter. Don't pronounce the E. But keep in mind that every time you have the E, you pronounce the little letter that's just ahead of the E. Je chante. So I do pronounce my T, but I don't pronounce the E. Tu chantes, same thing. ES mute. Il chante, elle chante. He sings, she sings. Nous chantons. Same thing, we sing. Vous chantez, you sing. Il chante, elle chante. Same thing, ENT always mute. So if I want to say she sings or they sing, same pronunciation. Elle chante, elle chante. Then we have the verb to dance. To dance, danser. Danser, here we go again. Still the verb ER, putting my right ending for my right pronoun. I dance, je danse. You dance, tu danses. Il, elle danse. He dances, she dances. Nous dansons, we dance. Vous dansez, you dance. Il danse, elle danse, they dance. Depending of the gender, you put il, boys, elle, girls. I told you at the beginning we have one exception, of course, otherwise it's not French. It's the verb to go. To go, aller. You see the ending, it's ER. It's supposed to be je, alle, finishing with the E. This one, completely different. It's an exception. You have to learn it, but it's not that hard. So if I want to say I go, completely different base. If I want to say I go, I'm going to be saying je vais. You go, tu vas. He goes, she goes. Il va, elle va. We go, nous allons. Starting with a vowel, I link with my S from nous. Nous allons. You go, vous allez. Same thing, I link with my S and I pronounce my EZ like a E. Vous allez. They go, ils vont, elles vont. And then we have not an exception, but it's just a little change that we need to make. For the verb that you see, such as to eat, which is manger, we pronounce it manger, G plus ER, manger. We're going to have to add a little thing. You're going to see what. Finishing with ER, same ending all the time. Je mange, I. Tu manges, IS. Il, elle mange, I. Nous, gonna skip that one. Vous mangez, IZ ending. Il, elle mange, INT. What is the issue here? The issue is with nous. Nous mangeons. Why do we have an E here? Because it's supposed to be the base and the ONS ending. So it's supposed to be MANGONS. The only issue here is that just a matter of pronunciation. If you don't put the E, you're going to be saying nous mangeons because G plus O makes it sound G. And we want to be pronouncing manger, mangeons. And we know that G plus E makes the right sound, je. So we're just going to put the E in between the G and the O so that we're going to be saying nous mangeons. So keep in mind, every verb, TER, you put an E comes to nous. Another little tricky one is to start. To start, commencer. Commencer, ER, same ending. Je commence, tu commences, il, elle commence. Nous, vous commencez, il, elle commence. With nous, it's the same thing. We have a little switch in the sound because if you look carefully, you see that under the C, we put a little thing. That thing is called cédille. Why do we put that? If we don't, we're going to pronounce the verb comment qu'on, because C plus O makes the sound K. And the verb is commencer. So if you want to be able to pronounce the C like a S, we need to put the little CD. Every time it's going to be C plus O. So nous commençons. So that the verb is pronounced correctly. I put my little CD under my C, and everything is it. That's all. Je commence, tu commences, il, elle commence, nous commençons, vous commencez, il, elle commence. Don't pronounce the E and it's plural. Okay, now you're professional with the verb ER, so it's your turn to try this little exercise. You have the pronoun, the verb ER, the translation. I want you to try to conjugate that verb depending of the pronoun with the right ending. You can try to do it in the comment section on your own. Send us the result if you want of the exercise, the correction on our social media. I just cannot wait to see if it was easy for you. If you have any questions, same as usual, you don't hesitate to text us. We're going to be happy to help you. I hope you liked today's class, and I just cannot wait to see you for another class. I wish you a good end of your week, and I just cannot wait to see you soon. Salut!